Hey everyone, I'm Tafony. Let's ramble about the dnipro Krait. So, disclaimer one, I imported the Krait from an American retailer. I have no affiliation with dnipro whatsoever. Disclaimer two, given that the company's from Ukraine, I believe the pronunciation is Dnipro, like the city. Up until I bought it, I had been saying dnipro, like it was an acronym, but rather than me butchering it for the whole video, I'm just going to refer to it as Krait going forward. So the way I'm going to demonstrate the Krait while I ramble about it, we have the saw output from the steady state Fate Zephyr going into a filter amp combined module. I'm not going to use the VCA in this one. We're just going to have a boring no envelope drone going. But what we are going to modulate, just so it's really apparent, is a low pass filter with a lot of resonance. So that sounds like this, and I'm going to do no modulation to start. Bring it in. That's my saw wave. So this is the low pass filter. I'm just sweeping through it manually, but we're gonna use the dnipro to do some modulation of said filter. Here's how it sounds. Yeah, so modulation, kind of difficult to demonstrate in a interesting or fun way, especially for someone who doesn't know what they're talking about but me. But let's ramble about it anyway. Okay, so Krait is a 3-channel modulation source with an emphasis on clocked modulation, so Krait should receive clock. I'm not sending a reset at the moment, but there is clock and reset ins at the bottom. Krait itself clocks in at 6 HP. There's a 4 HP expander as well called the EWA, the EWA. Forgive all these pronunciations, but that'll bring the overall size up to 10 HP. So we have the mode button. There's 3 outputs and 3 modes. They can be any combination of the 3, meaning that there isn't one mode per output. So the first output, I can switch it from any of the modes. There's LFO mode, knob record mode, and random mode. So the first mode is knob record mode. So quoting from the manufacturer now, can record pot turns up to 8 bar loops possible, 64-second long loop maximum. So if you did 8 bars at a super low BPM, the minimum's 30. You can get up to 64-second loops. That's not what I would be using it for, but very cool. LFO mode. So tap tempo LFO if you want. I'm using external clock, but the knob turbs will change the LFO shape. And then there's a random generator, which is, as they describe it, syncable random with portamento and possibility to freeze and loop LFO. There's also a slew built inside of it, which I'll show you in a second here. All settings and waveforms will be auto-saved and reloaded after power off. So here's my ramblings. The horizontal oscilloscope is kind of the kicker of this module, I guess, and just having one big knob that is easy to twist, very performative. What I like the most about it so far, and I'm very new with it, you're not doing looped knob records, but using the LFO and introducing some of your own variability by just performing with it, giving it a little tweak here. So if you go all the way to the left in LFO mode, you have square waves, your pulses. If we bring it up a little bit more, we're going to get into sine waves, and then there's triangle as well. And getting further, you're going to get into envelope shapes almost. This is sawtooth or shark tooth, I think is the word. Berate me in the comments if you know. And that's LFO mode. So there's a reset button on the right here. And I'm going to miss a lot of functionality here, don't hate me. But you can set your loop, your bar length with the big knob in the middle. Left is level, I believe. Yeah, they call it amp, so changes how much positive and negative voltage you want to output. And then right is reset, so if you're not using reset like me, you could manually reset it by hitting this if you're not using tap tempo. And yeah, that's the LFO, so it sounds like this. Yeah, what I was saying before about the using an LFO and then just doing your own little bit of randomness. Nice way to just have some clock modulation and spice it up a bit. If you want to do some performative stuff, I really like it for that. Now the second mode is the knob recorder. So the middle button is momentary recording, so if you press it, you can do a little bit or overwrite. And then the left button will engage the recording, so if I let it go, it's going to overwrite every time. So what I would also point out here is that you can hear it doesn't have to wait to loop, which is really appreciated. So you hear the knob affecting it live and it'll loop back. So that's the knob record mode. But yeah, super cool. I realize doing it here isn't very interesting, but if you paired this up with a quantizer and wanted to write your own arpeggios just by twisting knob records, that's a really interesting way to make music, I think. And then the last mode is the random mode, so it's definitely random, I believe. If we use left option, this is the slew. We can smooth out the square edges. And then there's a loop option as well, so if you're using that quantized scenario I was talking about, you want to loop it back, you can just hit the loop button on the right, and it'll lock your loop. So all of these settings about the length of the loop are in the settings button up top right here. But yeah, that's my super quick ramblings about the dnipro Krait. I think it's an awesome way to modulate without the headaches, without menu diving. If I could give another quick rambling, I think screens on Eurorack are awesome. I have the oscilloscope beside here, obviously, but it's really nice to just not have to remember button combos just to see when I hit set, what am I changing? I am changing the loop length. Screens in Eurorack are awesome, I think. I'm Tafony, thank you again. I appreciate you, and we'll talk soon.